So that is a little bit of background of the windows, and now I'm going to just start talking and breaking down some of them which are around the park. Interestingly, I'm actually going to start with Magic Kingdom and then talk about Disneyland California. I know that's not in chronological order, but I just wanted to talk about Magic Kingdom first because a lot of the windows which I'm going to be speaking about are to do with Walt Disney's family. Obviously, when Disneyland in California was created, Walt's family was a lot smaller than when it was to the creation of Magic Kingdom. As time went on, it's just what happens. So there are a few mentions of family members down the Disneyland Main Street, but for the most part, most family names were saved till Magic Kingdom opened in 1971. As the families grew, they had a lot more windows to play with, and I think they probably just had more of an understanding of whose names they wanted to pop up there, where down Main Street USA in Disneyland California, they probably just popped a lot of names of people who worked on the project and helped bring it to life. That very first park obviously was a massive achievement, so probably a lot of people that helped on the project and were significant parts in it got popped on the windows. So actually when you pop down everyone who helped on that project, you didn't actually have that many windows left at the end of it, whereas in Magic Kingdom there were so many more to play with. So let's get straight into it. Obviously Walt Disney unfortunately didn't make it till the opening of Magic Kingdom in 1971. He sadly passed away before that, so he never actually got to see the opening of Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World in general. This was spoken on in more detail in the previous episode, but his brother Roy O. Disney kindly took up Walt's position and made sure that everything was followed through into exactly what Walt wanted for Magic Kingdom. And of course, that is such an amazing thing to do, obviously kind of in a way putting your life on pause to see out what your brother wanted and his visions, and making sure that everyone would have the opportunity to see what Walt wanted. It's just honestly such a special story and just so lovely. It is like the ultimate thing you can do as a brother, I feel. So of course Roy O. Disney does have a window down Main Street USA in Magic Kingdom, and this is actually one of the first windows you will see as you walk in. It is above the confectionery store and it is at the very top. So I think there's 3 floors to the confectionery and it is at the very top, and it is 3 windows across the middle. So the middle one says Roy O. Disney, just his name, and then either side it says if we can dream it, we can do it, and dreamers and doers, which is so lovely. Obviously, if we can dream it, we can do it was a Walt Disney quote, and that is what I believe he said to a lot of his workers when they were going through these tricky times or they were trying to make this dream a reality. So just the fact that it's been popped next to Roy's name is so special, and just so nice to almost feel like he's got his brother there with him as well. This is where it's going to get a little bit confusing because Roy O. Disney had a son who's called Roy E. Disney, and he also has his own window down Main Street which mentions his name as well as his family's name. They loved the sea and were avid sailors, so it's all sailing themed around the windows. There's a lot of like wheels and anchors and stuff like that around the windows. And again, this is a 3-window layout and it honours his wife, Patty, and his children, Roy, Abigail, Susan, and Timothy. Again, another Roy. It must have been like you name your first boy Roy or something like that, but that must get so confusing at parties. Now, opposite the Emporium down the hidden street of Main Street, so there are a few hidden streets that lead to nowhere down Main Street. They're just kind of little like places which you can go and sit. It's a little bit more quiet. There's normally some tables and seats around there if you've got any food. I always recommend sitting down them because it's a really lovely place to take in what's going on, but like I said, it's a little bit off track, it's a little bit more hidden, and there's some really lovely windows up there as well. So down the one opposite the Emporium, like I just said, there is one dedicated to Elias Disney. So it says Elias Disney, then underneath it says contractor 1895, and Elias Disney was actually Roy and Walt's father. This window is also in Disneyland California as well. It is actually an exact replica in Magic Kingdom, and Elias Disney owned a contracting business in Chicago, so that's why it says contractor underneath it, and then 1895 was the year that he was born, which is so lovely that he's mentioned in there. Obviously, you would mention your parents in there if you had the opportunity to, and I just love that it's exactly the same in both parks as well. I think that's really special too, and kind of just adds a sentiment to it and makes it easy to spot out if you're visiting both parks as well. There is also a window for Walt Disney's daughter, who is called Diane, and her husband Ron. Ron worked for the Walt Disney World Company for a very long time, and like I said, they've both got their window up there too. I don't quite remember where this is located. I couldn't quite find it, but yeah, it is up there, and it basically just says Ron and Diane. It doesn't have anything else around it, but it's just a really sweet memory as well. And like I said, if you know who they are, it's an incredibly important window to pick out when you can. Not so much related to Walt Disney's family, but above the Crystal Art Store on the main strip of Main Street, it says M-Lot Real Estate Investment. And that is actually the window that we mentioned in last week's podcast, and it is a tribute to all the men that helped buy up the land, and it also mentions all the fake shell company names as well. So that is where it is. I know last week I told you I wouldn't tell you, but when I found out where it was, I couldn't not tell you. There it is. I won't break down into what names are used though, or what shell company names there are. I'll let you look at that for yourself. But yeah, that is a big window, and it has a lot of information on it. Obviously, like I said at the top, it says M-Lot Retail Estates, and then it breaks down into all the men's names that helped, and then all the shell company names. So there is tons of information on that one. And then just for Magic Kingdom, moving on to the main man himself, obviously Walt Disney has a window. Not only does he have one window, he actually has two windows. So the first one is actually just as you walk in again. It is above the train station. So you see it almost as you're leaving, probably more so than as you're walking in. And it is a window that says Walt Disney World's Railroad Office, keeping dreams on track, Walter E. Disney, Chief Engineer. Like I said, that's all kind of broken up across the window. But if you didn't know, Walt Disney absolutely loved trains. It was kind of his own little passion and hobby, aside from the parks, obviously. He had his own train that you could drive in his garden. I think it was like a miniature train, but you could sit on it. There's loads of photos of it in One Man's Dream in Disney's Hollywood Studios. But he absolutely loved trains. They were so important to him. So the fact that he's been mentioned on the railroad is really, really lovely, and just shows that people really appreciated Walt Disney and knew a lot about him apart from just his work and his dreams and stuff like that. They actually knew about his hobbies and what he really enjoyed in his free time when he had free time. And then his second window is at the other end of Main Street, and this is on the back side of the Ice Cream Plaza, and it says Walt E. Disney Graduate School for Design and Master Planning. And obviously that just explains Walt Disney in a nutshell. Obviously, he was the whole reason that Magic Kingdom and all of the Disney parks came to light. So the fact that he's been popped under master planning and design is just so true. And it's also been represented as a graduate school as well, which he did. He taught a lot of people how to do a lot of things and shared a lot of different passions as well, and kind of sparked interest for things that weren't even jobs before Walt Disney kind of got to these people, which is honestly so special. I think it's such a great window to have to commemorate him, and almost shows that he was kind of the teacher for this whole project, which he definitely was. And also something that is so special is that obviously this is on the back side of the plaza, like I said before, and the reason for it being on the back side means that this window is directly facing the castle. So it was created to make sure that Walt Disney was always looking out on the castle. He always had almost an eye looking at it, because truly Walt Disney World and Magic Kingdom was his biggest project to date. Even though he never got to see the end of it, it was such a massive project for him, such a big dream of his, and it did unfortunately outlive him at the end. He never got to see the final project, but just the fact that the window's there looking out on the castle 24/7, I just think is such a lovely way to honor him and remember him, and make sure he is in a way kind of taking in the magic and being able to watch everyone enjoy what he envisioned and what he wanted. I just think that's such a lovely touch. I know we're literally talking about a window, but I guess it is the sentiment of it, and just that, again, that extra thought that Imagineers and the Walt Disney Company put into every single detail, and the reasoning behind it. It is just so special. I absolutely love it.